Welcome to the Approximate Hours Special Edition podcast, the Approximate Dance Party, Part 2. This episode features interviews with two incredible members of the hit band 747.
And on Geeky Gossip with the Guys, we shall be debating the necessities of a successful zombie apocalypse survival team.
Our Take Your Health Back segment discusses the importance of truth in labeling and how this affects those of us with allergies or food sensitivities.
Jeannie the Giant Killer from Bad Gas Pal is back to share her views on why boys are dumb, girls are stupid, and people are lame.
And finally, our feature performance this week is the hard-hitting tune Fatal Mistake by the incredible 747.
The Approximate Hour.
But first, time for our weekly adventure segment, where we discuss the ongoing trials and tribulations of being a working artist.
Today, our weekly adventure segment focuses on the true dedication of a professional artist, a quality we look for and currently have discovered from all of the artists currently working on the Mickey and Worm tour.
For sure. This week has been a true test of an artist's dedication to their art. I know folks make fun of the weather here in Southern California, but frankly, it took a colder turn this week and settled into autumn temperatures.
And for that matter, the rain finally hit, so we've been rehearsing out in the cold in your backyard, no less.
Yep. So this past week, we've had to ask our artists to rehearse outside, in the muddy desert we call our backyard, in sharp winds and bursts of cold.
And it got pretty funny, actually, with you coming back and forth from the house. It's like carrying gloves, then scarves and jackets, and what I believe are Russian gypsy hats.
Well, essentially, they are an old style of quilted hat with fur trim.
Yeah. And
you can easily see the inspiration that became the modern Russian Cossack hat. Well, anyway, we wear them when we camp medieval style with our friends in the SCA, and we happen to have a lot of them, as they are great to loan out to people who are unprepared out camping at night.
And frankly, most actors don't really need to think about taking a scarf or an extra jacket and gloves and a hat to rehearsal of any kind, let alone here in this state.
And yet, everyone in our group has stepped up to the plate. After making fun of our fur hats, the next rehearsal found actors donned in their own colder weather attire to include a Hello Kitty beanie, a jester hat, and a Ushanka hat.
Now, I have to take a moment to really congratulate the actors here. It takes a lot to stay in character while threatening a guy in a 90s-style jester hat.
For sure, and the fun part about directing was that it was easy to notice if someone was heading in or out the wrong entrance or exit because these hats would stand out in my peripheral vision. All of a sudden, Hello Kitty was heading out the wrong door. And, now I'm thinking, maybe we have to use this idea when directing other shows.
Definitely. It gave us something to laugh about. And I have to say, after seeing how great the show was in your backyard, in the cold, with everyone wearing weird hats, I really can't wait to see it on stage. It's already impressive under really harsh conditions.
Thanks, Wolfman, although you are a bit biased.
Hey, biased or no, this week's adventures were worth mentioning. When artists work hard and rally together, they make magic happen.
True story. I've got an idea.
Let's change the subject!
And now, Word Rants with Wolfman Dave, for those who like to correct others, while not allowing themselves to be told what to do.
You ever hear those songs that are basically lists of instructions? I've never understood the appeal of those. The locomotion, the name game, that sort of thing. I mean, I just want to listen to some tunes here, and up comes some brain-dead bubblegum pop singer giving me marching orders. When somebody tells me to come on, baby, and do the locomotion, I glare back and say, don't tell me what to do. Clearly somebody thinks there's a market for this. We wouldn't have country line dancing and square dancing if not. Have you tried listening to these things for actual musical content? Every song is just some weirdo calling out instructions. Promenade, allemande, left, do-si-do, so on. It's infuriating. Who does this yahoo think he is, barking orders at me like I'm on parade? It's even worse with the Macarena and the electric slide. Either some dork heard the song and came up with a dance for it, or the other way around, and now it's just expected that you're gonna start doing the dance as soon as you hear the song. Pro tip, kids. The Macarena is a song about a girl cheating on her boyfriend with as many men as possible. And the electric slide is a song about nothing. Do we really want to choreograph celebrations of infidelity and vague descriptions of nothings? Anyway, that's why I like that song, Teach Me How to Dougie. It's ironic in just the right way. It purports to be another instruction song, but it doesn't actually teach anyone how to Dougie. Well played, Dougie song. Well played. The Humpty Dance is the same way. The whole song is about Humpty, and how Humpty Hump humps the Humpty Hump. He, of course, invites you to do the Humpty Hump, do the Humpty Hump if you feel like it. And while he does break it down for you towards the end of the song, it's not orders. He tells you how he does it. And he doesn't make a big deal about getting it right. He basically tells you can do it however you want. Humpty really helps the below-average dancer express his creative self with free-form, whole-body expression of rhythm and music. Well done, Humpty. So if you're going to give me instructions, follow Humpty's example. I don't need that name game garbage. Have you actually heard that song all the way through? I think most people know the chorus by now, but I was watching American Horror Story when they completely halted the show's action to do the whole song all the way through. It was the first time I heard the entire thing, and I realized then the song has no story to it, no narrative. Every single verse is a breakdown of how to do the name game. Jerry, Jerry, Bo-Berry, Banana, Fana, Fo-Fairy, Me, My, Mo, Mary. Jerry. You can extrapolate the rules from there, can't you? No. Well, whenever somebody wants to do the name game with me, I tell him my name is Tucker. Tucker, Tucker, Bo-Bucker, Banana, Fana, Fo-Fo. Okay, kids, we're not playing the name game anymore. Serves him right. Stupid mother Tuckers.
Word Rants with Wolfman Dave, for those who like a little locomotion in their name game.
All right, we'd like to welcome Adam, the newest member of 747, to the Approximate Hour in Combat Radio. Hello, Adam. Welcome.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're really excited, and we have some interesting questions for you. Ready?
That's all right. I'm the most interesting person you're ever going to interview.
I believe you. Okay, first question. All right, first question. What did you have for lunch today?
What did I have for lunch? Well, being as I'm in the process of hacking my life, I don't know if you guys have heard about life hacks.
Oh, yes.
Life hacks, I highly recommend hacking your life, dude. It's been the best decision I ever made. So I actually take pictures of everything that I eat, which is actually better, more reliable than my short-term memory. So if you'll give me a moment, let's see what I ate for lunch. Hold on.
I want to see what you ate for lunch.
I thought you were just being kind of a douche bucket. Like, oh, I'm just talking on the phone.
No, I sound.
Oh, you ate yourself?
I actually sound like a douche bucket when I talk, but I'm the opposite.
Okay.
Oh, so see this. So life hack. What is
Oh,
this?
yum.
Oh,
That's
wow.
some
looks pretty.
butter lettuce, some radishes. That's a piece of. I believe they call that crostini. I don't know.
It looked like garlic
it
cheese
looks
toast
tasty,
to me. Oh,
Ooh,
And look at
steak.
that, some medium rare steak.
Aw,
Make
yeah.
it better than steak.
Nothing spruces
Yeah.
up a salad
That
like
was
steak.
that was my lunch.
Well,
Nice.
meat
What else
is
you got?
the primary ingredient. What would you consider your first art project, and how did that inspire you to be the artist you are today?
You know, my first art project was probably a diorama.
Nice.
You guys may not have heard that word in a while, diorama, but dioramas. I have a little boy. Full disclosure.
Nice.
That's the only reason why the word diorama is in my lexicon right now, is because he happens to be making a diorama, and
Nice.
I've been helping him with it. You know, and so that was probably my first art project for the diorama. It was probably pretty bad. It's not as bad as my son's, which is a volcano exploding and dinosaurs running away from it with ninjas riding on their back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just hitting everything. You got explosions,
pretty much.
volcanoes, dinosaurs, and ninjas.
So he's going to the James Cameron School.
Yes.
Could be. I don't know.
The
You know, it's you guys should actually watch some children's cartoons these days. They're kind of epic and way more like
Adventure Time.
psychedelic than they used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Right.
Well, that's because people are starting with acid so much earlier these
pretty
days.
much everyone that was like just blasting their brains with hallucinogenics is making that stuff now.
In case you're wondering, that's Adam's phone.
Yes, I'm a busy man. I'm a very popular man. I'm going to be performing 2 nights with 747, which is one of the Valley's, one of Los Angeles, specifically the San Fernando Valley's longest running supercharged rock and roll bands.
Nice. All right. Well, we've got a third very challenging question for you. Take it away, Wolf.
Yes, this is very important to any artist. Are you a cat person, a dog person? What kind of pets are we talking about here?
You know what? This is really important to actually all the women that I troll on the online dating websites as well. this has been a deal breaker more times than any. So I have to really carefully consider my answer, and I'll say cat person because I'll be honest, I love to eat pussy.
Whoa. Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
Something to snuggle with at night.
Yeah.
Hold on. You eat your pet? Well, if you're going to talk about eating pets, we actually have a fish tank we're trying to get rid of, and it has fish in it. I imagine
Yeah.
they might be delicious.
There's 3 of them. It's a 90-gallon tank. Whoever was willing to take it away,
Free to a good home.
But
Would
the
you like
thing's
some free
huge.
fish?
You know what? Part of my life hack is I'm venturing into the world of entrepreneurship. I might just have a home for that fish tank for you guys.
Nice.
Hey, I'll we'll exchange information after the interview.
Sweet.
Yes.
Awesome. That's our first taker.
Nice.
All right. So Are you at a point where your art is your current day job? What pays the bills?
What keeps the lights on?
I've actually been in the emergency medical care industry, emergency medical services industry for the last 12 years, and it's awesome. It's I like to tell people I haven't made it as a rock star yet, but I definitely am a rock star in my profession, and it's true. I'm good at what I do. I love it, but at the same time, it's like life hacks, man. Life hacks.
Right.
I'm going to keep going back to that because that's where I'm at. You know, it's like, do I want to continue to just work myself into the ground, just get by, or do I want to actually take control of my future destiny? So that's where I'm headed. But yeah, I don't get to be very artistic in my job, but I get to be pretty awesome.
But that's the truth, and that we like to bring that here at the Approximate Hour. And I know that Ethan from Combat Radio even touches on that as artists, we do other things. We're not always able to do our art 24/7, and we got to pay the bills. And the reality is, you work super hard as an artist to be successful, to include all the things that take care of the bills.
And specifically as 3 former medical professionals, props to you, because it's so hard to be in that field and pretty much anything else.
Absolutely.
I, on the other hand, have turned unemployment into an art form, so that's what keeps my life.
And if the EDD is hearing this, please continue to give Wolfman his checks.
And speaking of that, there's 168 hours in a week. How much time do you spend outside of your day job working on your art?
Working on my art. Well, life's busy, man. Life is busy. I would like to spend a hell of a lot more. Of the 168 hours, I probably spend a good 10 to 20 week by week thinking about, working on, performing, practicing my art. I would love to get that up to 50 hours a week, easy by let's say by the end of the year.
Sure. Well, it's hard when you have a kid too, because you can't say, "All right, kiddo, I'm just going to practice for a couple hours," and you just sit right there.
Yeah, but he's actually a great inspiration, because. Hey, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be talking about the awesome diorama he made.
That's right.
That's part of my artwork right there, is helping him build that sucker, which is, I'm sure, the most epic in his classroom.
Right. Well, and it's a callback to what inspired you in the first place, so that's got to be amazing.
Absolutely, man. Hey, you know what? It's kind of a overly used cliche saying, but you never realize like how awesome life is until you see it through the eyes of a child that's discovering it for the first time. And
Rock on.
Being where I'm at right now, it's like I'm a single dad. Things didn't work out as a family man. I wasn't destined for that picket fence, 2.5 kids, everything that we are sort of socialized into believing is our destiny. But you know what? I've got something much better right now, and it just keeps getting better. So
living the dream.
Absolutely. Living the dream. Sorry.
No, we don't. We really don't mind if
Okay.
you're under 13. That word, have your parents explain it.
Okay, super important question that we have here on the Approximate Hour.
Yeah.
But I need your knee-jerk reaction. Are you ready?
Ready for
What is your favorite hair color?
my favorite hair color.
Yeah.
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to have to, and this is going to be a weird answer. People are going to be like, what? I wouldn't expect that. But
Try me.
there's an amazing internet model. Her name is Annalie Bell. Take a look at her.
Oh, yeah.
And she's got a rainbow, it's like seriously like every color in the spectrum. And she just looks amazing. So,
Do you know how many hours it takes to make that happen?
no. And thankfully, being a dude, I don't have to worry about that.
Right. It's
But
actually pretty serious to
I
do that.
certainly appreciate the effort that the women put into making that happen.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have another sci-fi question, actually.
You do?
Other than this one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Just because I don't want to do the same sci-fi topic every week.
We tend to pick a geeky debate topic
That's
that
okay.
may or may not come up later on our podcast.
Yep.
We're nerds
It's really
at heart.
important things in life that make it, make everything happen.
This week's sci-fi question, the geeky gossip question. In the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the sinister mutagen would act on your body to turn you into a hybrid of a human and the last animal you came in contact with. What animal did you last come in?
you last had contact with?
What would I
Was it a
morph
dog?
into?
Was it a cat?
You know
Was it
what?
a fly that landed on your head?
Honestly, yeah, it would have to be a fucking insect because, being a bachelor, being a dude that works, 12-hour shifts and has an hour commute, I don't really feel right having an animal, a pet, be that neglected. So yeah, it's probably one of the bugs that made its way into my car and like died a horrible death as the windows were closed, melting its brains.
But its genetic lineage lives on in your new mutated form.
Absolutely, man. Hey, you know what? if there's as I'm going back to the whole trolling the dating websites, great question on one of them. Would you rather have the powers of flight or invisibility? And you know what? Motherfucking flight every time. God damn it! It's like at one point, when I had issues like social anxiety and being fearful of X, Y, and Z. Now it's like, dude, I just want to fucking fly, man.
Right on.
That's where it's at.
Adam from the band 747.
Thank you so much.
Great to catch a show
for
tonight.
You guys, I told you. how'd I do?
You were
1 to
great.
10.
Excellent.
Thank you.
1 to 10. Not bad.
Yeah, no, I'd put you up there 9 or 10.
I've got an idea.
Let's change the subject.
We'd like to welcome to the studio Jeannie the Giant Killer, here from Bad Gas Pal, to share some important life advice.
I'm not sure that's such a great idea. She's got the hots for you, dude.
I'm guessing that's why she's willing to work for free?
Fair enough. Welcome, Jeannie, to the Approximate Hour. I hear you have rather a provocative topic to discuss this week.
Yes, welcome, Jeannie. It's nice to have you back.
Oh, it's great to be back, Wolfman. I just
Hi. Wolfman, why don't you try to bring us in on today's topic?
Okay, our letter today comes from Jerry in Gary, Indiana. Hitting a topic that's becoming quite a worldwide sensation, dick pics.
Oh, one of my favorite new topics.
Oh, good. I was worried it might be a little bit taboo.
Oh, Wolfman, nothing you say is a taboo topic with me.
Right. On to the letter. Dear Jeannie, for a long time I wasn't having much luck with women. They tell you women love it when you're really alpha and act like the biggest dog in the pound. Or they tell you to be funny, or they tell you to be an old-fashioned gentleman type, and nothing was really working out. I'd get numbers and everything, but nothing I tried after I got the number really worked as far as getting that first or second date. So one night, I felt like I had nothing to lose with this one girl, so I took a picture of my junk and took a picture of my junk and sent it to her just to see what would happen. I mean, she was just some chick I met at a dorm party, so who cares if she thinks I'm a perv, right?
I think Jerry should know that girls assume everyone they meet at a dorm party is a perv. Between hormones and alcohol, this is a pretty safe bet.
What are you saying, Jeannie? That women can't trust guys at a party?
Oh, no. I'm saying college kids can't trust each other at a party. Boys, girls, trans. It doesn't matter. Most people are pervs. And college is all about finding the right kind of perv for you.
And hopefully getting a career-oriented secondary education. But I digress.
Back to the letter. Anyway, I sent her my dick pic, and to my surprise, she returned the favor. She took a picture of her pussy in the... Oh, man. She took a picture of her pussy in the mirror and sent it to me. I mean, I'm no porn star or anything, but apparently what I'm packing gets a response if I show it off. So we had some fun, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, Wolfman. I mean, Jerry.
Right. So, back to the letter. We had some fun, and after we parted ways, I tried doing it again. In fact, I find myself sending at least one dick pic per week. It doesn't it doesn't always work, but I haven't been hurting for, quote, female company, end quote, since then, if you know what I mean.
We know what you mean, Jerry.
He goes on, frankly, most of the time what happens after I send my dick pic is I get a twat shot in response.
Oh.
I guess this is starting to sound like bragging, so I guess what I'm asking is, am I good? Is this what I have to do to get interest anymore? Or is stuff like machismo and or a nice personality still worth working on? Thanks in advance, Jerry from Gary, Indiana.
Wow, that's a fantastic letter.
Ugh.
It really hits hard on the topic.
Oh, come on.
First of all, boys are dumb. Sending a dick pic is not romantic. So, sending one to get dates is not a very good plan. It's more of a booty call tactic.
So it's okay to send a crotch shot as long as both parties know it's just about sex?
Most booty calls are straight to the point, so I don't see the harm in that case. However, if you want a girl to take you seriously, I don't suggest it.
What about girls who don't want to see a guy's junk as part of the whole flirting process?
Well, girls are dumb. The girls who are off sending clit pics and jumping into bed with these guys are making it hard for those who aren't down with the direct approach. If you don't like what you see, tell that creeper to take that little stillborn gerbily bit and put it back in his pants.
Whoa!
Move on.
Fair enough. But what does Jerry do from here?
Well, people are lame. They've forgotten the fine art of flirting and dating. Everyone's on a schedule and their lives are overexposed on the internet. So it's simply lazy to send a dick pic, a twat shot, or otherwise to make a move on someone. And frankly, it's disrespectful. You walk a fine line between the responses, "What the heck?" and "I should report this person" every time you send one. Make sure the person is down with the direct approach before you blow up their phone with unsolicited sex pics.
So what if Jerry wants to meet someone for both companionship and sex? What are women looking for?
Someone with a brain, for one thing. Can a man both exhibit his machismo and be a gentleman at the same time? Of course. Just remember, everyone doesn't want to be hit on all the time. And most people looking for a good time also enjoy a little foreplay. And flirting can be some of the best foreplay. Try meeting someone you have something in common with and talk about that. You'd be surprised how easy things are when you look for partners the same way you look for friends.
And that's some friendly advice from Jeannie the Giant Killer. Thanks for coming in, Jeannie.
Yes, thanks for coming in.
Oh, wait, hold on. It's my phone. Looks like I got a text from... Jeannie!
See you next week.
Well, you can't get much more direct than that.
No, you can't.
I've got an idea.
Let's change the subject!
Today, on Take Your Health Back, we talk about the truth in labeling. You have a quick story about this, don't you, Wolfman?
Yeah, I remember we were out, we were headed to Las Vegas, and we always stop at Peggy Sue's Diner. And
Great place, by the
it's
way.
an awesome place. Just omelets and biscuits and oh yes. But anyway.
And if you'd like to sponsor us,
info@intervisionentertainment.com. Please, Peggy Sue. We love you. But they had this weird product when the coffee came. They had creamers in this little dish. And I held it up to the light and I saw non-dairy creamer contains milk.
right?
Or, yeah, just like...
Non-dairy creamer that has dairy on the label as a warning.
I mean, that seems like magic to me. This is dark sorcery at work. That somehow, like, I guess somehow they extract lactose from it, or I don't even know what I was looking at. But whatever it was, it said non-dairy and contains milk within the same, 8mm space.
Right. And you remember my response was that this is something I contend with every day.
Uh-huh.
You can imagine how unnerving it is to have an allergy and have to read every part of the label to make sure the product is safe for you. And that's my wish for the future. A future where labels are clear-cut and the public demands honesty from corporations and businesses that provide the nourishment we purchase. Until then, keep reading and stay safe out there.
It's a sad, sad world when food becomes the enemy.
It surely is. And now, time for Geeky Gossip with the Guys. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us for another debate on geeky topics from our favorite genres.
Thank you. It's always fun to be part of the Approximate Hour team.
So, let's see. We're talking about the anatomy of a zombie survival team. Now, to make sure we're all on the same page, are we talking about walkers, where a disease, etc. has caused the breakout, or living ghouls controlled by magic?
We're talking about walkers specifically.
Oh, okay. So 28 days later and Army Darkness are right out?
Yeah, right out.
Right. Like the number 5.
Right, 5 is right out.
Right out. Got it. So, and are we talking about rebuilding society after a zombie apocalypse, or just surviving as long as your group can?
Just surviving as long as you can at this point. Rebuilding a society would be a whole other topic.
And it's a whole other kind of story too.
Oh, exactly.
Because a lot of your best zombie fiction is about what happens kind of immediately after the apocalypse.
Right, when everybody's kind of in that hunter-gatherer mindset of just make it through the day.
And so we were interested in when people are in that mode, how do you get by? Like what roles do you have?
Right.
Interestingly enough, we came up with 2 completely different views on the subject when we went and thought about it separately.
Yeah, because Ryan came up with a topic, and I thought, oh, well, this is what we need. And I came up with a different list than you. And I want to hear your list first, actually.
Well, I came up with a series of traits, or almost like a group culture that has to exist in order for the group to survive. And you came up with specific skills and traits that they would need. Technical skills, basically.
Okay, so let's start with your list first, Ryan. What traits would a group need to have in order to survive?
Well, first and foremost, they always take care of their own.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Whenever they're dealing with outside entities, they always look and take care of their own group first and foremost.
Yeah.
They always share food with their group, share resources, and it becomes very quickly about the entire group's survival.
Now, when you say take care of your own, do you mean take care of your immediate family, the people around you, or do you start taking on your own in terms of the people you find and gather as you go?
While they are very slow to trust any new people that come about, they do slowly add members of the group.
Right.
And you kind of have to because there's strength in numbers, and as you progress, you need to add more and more people, and you can survive more and more dangerous situations.
Yeah.
And with that is the leave no one behind mentality that seems to come out of every successful group.
Yeah.
And it's just a numbers game at that point. Sooner or later, every member of that group is going to be in a situation where they're dead to rights and they cannot get out of it by themselves. With the general attitude of people go back and grab everybody who's still alive regardless, it means you're more likely to have friends get you out of that, meaning you survive more of those situations.
Well, that's an interesting topic, because when we watch film, we see people leave people behind all the time.
Yeah,
They're like, hey, dude, sorry.
Well, I mean, because this whole discussion spun out of The Walking Dead.
Really, and if you look at the long-term surviving groups in The Walking Dead, they don't do that. And in fact, your groups that have been out in the wild versus the more sheltered ones all have that mentality of they risk everything to get one guy back.
Sure.
And it's the people who weren't exposed to that who cut and run. And ultimately, when the groups that do rescue each other come in contact, they end up either taking over or wiping out the other group.
Now, you're in the Marine Corps, Ryan, so a lot of your belief attached to this and thinking that The Walking Dead is kind of dead on. But you really believe this because you've seen that in action.
Yes, every modern successful military or police station or any modern group that's routinely in life or death situations all develop this attitude, and I don't think that's a coincidence.
So if they're going to be a big group, do they just let everyone in as they go? I mean, what other aspects?
That's what I said before. They are slow to trust, and they're skeptical of new people, but they do adopt them after vetting. Vetting. You watch them, and
how many times can we say vetting?
Vetting. Anyway, yeah, you adopt them over time, like we were talking about earlier. And the other big factor, because those are kind of how they treat internal members.
Yeah.
The other big factor, it seems that the longer surviving groups are willing to talk to other groups they run into first, rather than immediately opening fire.
Yeah.
But they at least talk, which, again, mathematically just makes sense because they're not losing members every time they run into other humans.
Sure.
So let's just make sure we get the summary of traits here. So we have take care of their own, leave no one behind, slow to trust, but adopt new people after skeptical vetting. Vetting. And willing to talk to other groups.
Sure.
So let's move
vetting.
Vetting.
Okay, we're good there.
Talk to people you vetted. And then you're
About the vetting process.
Okay.
to get away from the zombies, you're in a vet.
Right, so moving on. So, Wolf,
Yeah.
you were more concerned with the roles within the group.
Yeah, because having not seen a lot of The Walking Dead, but taking in a lot of other kinds of apocalyptic fiction, and just, watching a lot of superhero cartoons and being a fan of Transformers, I recognize that there's sort of a need for people to have different skills. Like, one person has to be the leader, or a small combine of people has to be the leader.
That makes sense.
Because, without leadership, the whole thing breaks down. You can't have a commune in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, anytime you have to make quick decisions, one or two people have to be in charge.
Yeah, do we break left, break right? Do we hop in the tank? Do we stay in the building? Things
Exactly.
like that.
What I find interesting, too, is that it almost always comes down to one person, right?
Yeah. And, that's Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead. And up to the point that I watched, it's, what do we do? Everybody looks to Rick and then he cries.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, so really your leader isn't always your badass.
No.
So your next group I see here are weaponeers?
Yes. Well, you gotta have somebody to figure out and manage your defenses. And your offenses, for that matter. And if you have to get yourself out of a scrape or protect yourself from the outside, how do you do it? Well, ammo is scarce. Nobody's making more of it. And I'm thinking Fallout here, where everything is scavenged. And you have to work with what you can find. And so your weapons, you might do... Oh, and Ryan and I were talking at length about the best weapons to use, and I like the spear.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the spear, black powder rifles, where you could actually make more ammunition.
Conceivably.
Which all falls down to your weaponeers.
Yeah.
You're finding the guy that actually knows not only how to use weapons, but how to create them.
Yeah, and that breaks off into a multitude of disciplines, but it falls under weaponeers for my purposes. That
Well, let's talk about, though, this a little longer.
Yeah.
What about improvised weapons?
improvised
Like
weapons.
Dead Rising.
Yeah, it makes me think of the game Dead Rising, where like literally everything you can grab is a weapon, but in that game, not everything is equally useful. I mean, obviously, a croquet mallet is less useful than, say, a chainsaw.
Right.
And that whole game takes place in a mall where you can find all this stuff.
Unless you run out of gas for the chainsaw.
Yeah, well, I mean, is a vat of boiling oil more useful than that you find in the food court, more useful than a ceiling fan that you found in the housewares section?
Which would depend on your situation.
And so it falls to some, like, you can improvise whatever weapon you want, but a defensible group that survives the apocalypse the longest has somebody who knows this stuff, like is either really proficient with weapons, knows how to build them, or things of that nature.
So the person's smart enough to make sure everyone has a knife and knows how to use it.
Yeah. That's not a knife. This is a knife. And I just hear
And a
him
crossbow.
in a fight with Ash from the Evil Dead. This is a knife. This is my boomstick.
Right.
We had a knife, boomstick,
Knife, boomstick.
want a
machine gun,
boomstick.
tank.
That's a good-
Everybody's got one.
Yeah,
You're good.
That's a good zombie fighting loadout.
Okay, so you've got your weaponeers, you've got your leader, but then
Yeah.
that's not going to get everything done.
Right.
Who else do you need?
Well, you need scouts. You need scavengers. Because, again, this is the apocalypse. Industry has shut down. And so, in the short term, how you survive is by finding stuff. And so, a lot of The Walking Dead is about, okay, we found a defensible location, and the town is down the hill. Somebody go down there and get us some medical supplies. Or raid the gun shop for more ammo. And for that matter, how useful Daryl is as both a scout and a weaponeer. That he kind of fits both of those roles because he's knocked around in the wild and he knows how to deal without modern conveniences.
Speak softly, carry a redneck.
Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say, Ryan, also from your military experience, when you want a scout that's out there also ready to kill all the stray walkers that they see, I mean, you can't just be like, hey, where's the stuff, right? They've got to be badasses.
totally.
Can't just be good at running.
Yeah, totally. Just like the military. You want to find the most backwoods guy you can find, and he's usually your best scout and weaponeer.
Somebody with a name like Clem or Jeter.
Isn't it interesting, actually? I mean, I know this is a quick side note,
Yeah.
but this happens all the time.
Oh,
The
sure, well-
redneck is supposed to be the dumbass, and let's be honest, the guy's most equipped and
Yeah.
very intelligent about
No.
all these things that no one else can do.
I want that, like, everybody laughs at Hawkeye until they realize how useful it is to have a bowman on the team.
Right?
Right, well-
i.e. in the zombie
Well,
apocalypse.
because your average redneck can't use a computer, but they can build a swamp cooler that can air condition your house out of some baling wire.
They can
and,
shoot the
and a chicken.
They can shoot the ears off a squirrel from 300 yards.
Maybe we should add to the list that we just actually need a redneck.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I'm going to put that right here.
So let's see. You need Crocodile Dundee, Optimus Prime, a redneck.
Okay, so now moving on. What else do you need to continue on as a group?
Well, and sort of breaking off from weaponeers and people who know how to engineer or improvise weapons I'm thinking like science and medicine. You need people who can patch you up. That's what made what was his name, the old guy on the farm, so useful. That he was a vet. He didn't do any Herschel. That's his name. He didn't do any human medicine, but he had a basic understanding of mammalian anatomy, and that qualified him better than anyone they had met up to that point to patch somebody up if you get hurt.
Well, there's a reason why in any post-apocalyptic survival situation, the one professional from the old world that retains his skill and position is the doctor.
Yeah. And occasionally the weirdos in the SCA who know how to use spears.
Right. Yeah, but nobody cares if you were...
Yeah.
After the apocalypse, nobody cares if you were a lawyer. Nobody cares if you were a politician.
Yeah.
You say you're a doctor, they want you to come on in.
But at the same time, it's an easy thing to forget. The mundanity of getting a cut on your leg or getting a bone broken or things like that. You don't just have zombies to worry about in the post-apocalypse.
Oh,
The
exactly.
whole world is against you, and you're an animal in the wild now. The
Well, in
wild is
fact-
out to get you.
In fact, dying from sickness and disease can be just as dangerous
pernicious.
because a zombie then rises in the midst.
And what about basic herbal medicine and witchcraft, where you can find out how to make an ointment, an antibiotic,
Or a salve.
Because you're going to run out of Neosporin.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you patch your wounds with?
Or the grad student that knows how to grow penicillin.
Oh, hey, there it is.
All right, so we've got your medical and science, and I would add to that. What about farming? Or is that in your next one?
Well, I'd lump that into one of my last topics is like the building and technical types. People who know how to build either a defensible fortification, people who know how to build a sustainable farm. Like, you got those weirdos who have this wonderful farm in their backyard. fueled by compost and stuff like that.
God, I wish I knew more of those weirdos.
Yes.
I wish they would turn my garden into a garden.
Yes, I need
Oh,
carrots,
yeah.
everyone.
Because it's not a garden.
So
Info at intervisionentertainment.com.
So what you really need, when it all comes down to this, because you need the guy that knows how to grow food and build walls and things like that, what you really need is a leader and a bunch of rednecks that grew up on farms.
Yes.
That's what you need.
That's all you need.
And one
In the-
scientist. But let's go back to building and technical, because that's
Yeah.
interesting. Now, granted, we were talking mostly about just surviving as long as the group can, but the only way to rebuild society is for this to ever happen.
Yeah, and so I think of Fallout, where by the same token that you scavenge weapons together in order to build something that you can travel with, people will scavenge things together from just what is out there. Like there's this place, Megaton City, that's built out of a plane. And a hotel managed to survive the destruction of the world, practically. And so, since it still stands, they've fortified it to be a new habitat that's safe from radiation and things like that.
Exactly. As soon as you find a renewable source of food and water, the first thing any group's going to want to do is fortify it. Not only for the walkers that may come by, but to keep other humans out.
And moving on to that, I mean, all the information that gets lost in an apocalypse, you know? What about all the things we've learned and how we're going to have to relearn them as a society to rebuild?
Another place in Fallout is Rivet City. It's built into an aircraft carrier, and they've built a museum in there.
Yeah.
Like, because they have to preserve society somehow. Book of Eli did the same thing, where Alcatraz Island, they built a little city on there.
Luckily, all those Carnegie libraries were made out of brick.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of engineering manuals in them.
Well, I mean, let's talk about that just for a minute. I mean, that is the only way to get past, is to actually be able to take knowledge with you versus having to relearn everything as a society.
And again, that's kind of what the Book of Eli was all about. I'm not going to spoil it for people who want to see it, but for people who appreciate post-apocalyptic fiction, give it at least one watch.
It's
good. It's really great.
Now, finally, this is the biggest role that I would say maintains a group.
I'm saying morale, and it leads from that last topic, because in The Walking Dead, it comes up a lot that people kind of want to surrender to fate, and nobody really has a good reason exactly why they should go on. They simply say, you must. And so how do you don't maintain the integrity of your group if you don't keep them happy in some way?
This comes up in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it does come up. Like when they're in the science lab, they find that there's wine in there, so they get trashed and have a great time. When they're lost in the wild, they sing around the fireplace. Book of Eli, they carry books with them and things like that.
It dovetails a lot with the traits I had set up.
Oh yeah.
Most of those, that's more of a trait issue.
Most of those are the traits that do boost morale, because you very quickly stop thinking yourself as an individual, but you're also an individual who's a part of this greater unit, and having that greater unit gives most people the will to survive.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not for them, they want to be around to take care of the others.
But I would say that, you can also think that you might need a person to specifically be responsible for the morale. Someone who really rallies people together.
That's the biggest thing to do with the leader.
So really...
It all dovetails. Yeah, it all flows back together.
So morale is the one thing you came up with, really, that falls more under traits.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's what sort of blends those two items together. Of somebody takes either the role of the comforter, or they all kind of work together as a general trait for a sustainable group to provide, courage and comfort.
Yeah, and that's why throughout history you see the leader of a whatever it was tends to get all the credit when they really didn't actually do any of the work.
No.
Patton wasn't actually getting in his tank and rolling over German positions by himself. There was a lot of other people doing that, but Patton's personality made that happen.
You magnificent bastard! I read your book!
Flowed through them. Okay,
Yes.
so let's do this in summary then.
Yeah.
The roles, the actual people.
Uh-huh.
We need someone in a leadership role, a
Yes.
morale booster.
Mhm.
We need weaponeers.
Uh-huh.
We need scouts that kick ass.
Yes.
We need a redneck.
Yes.
Well, the redneck covers
Now,
everything.
Yeah, but I think we just separately need
Yes.
A
redneck.
redneck.
Okay. We need someone in charge of medicine and science, preferably a real expert.
Yes.
Right.
And we need someone in charge of building and technical, and preferably also a real expert that can share their knowledge quickly.
See, you really need a redneck that grew up on a farm and a doctor.
Okay, how many times can we say redneck?
Vetting
Vetting.
your rednecks.
You need to vet your rednecks.
Vetting our rednecks.
You need vetted rednecks.
And so just to re-summarize traits, we've got, take care of their own,
Yeah.
leave
Yep.
no one behind,
Yep.
slow to trust, adopt new people after skeptical vetting, willing to talk to other groups, and groups that have a morale, something inspires them
Yeah.
to want to live on. Okay, well, you guys, this has been fantastic.
That your rednecks, everyone.
All right, thanks so much for
Thanks,
joining
Ryan.
us, Ryan.
Gonna go vet my redneck right now.
And that was Geeky Gossip with the guys.
That was dirty. And now we bring you one of our favorite new tunes, Fatal Mistake, by the remarkable 747.
I saw the devil and I started to burn. I called you friend and I got nothing in return. Hold on a carrot that you dangle from afar. So full of bullshit, you don't know who you are. You make a bunch of men and faces. You worthless clown, you watchable man. Well, I don't want anything from you. Well, I made my fatal mistake. You put my friend right under your spell. I should have known it when the heads began to swell. This ain't no loss and it might as well. Gonna see your master when you end up in hell. She make a bunch of men and faces. You worthless clown, you watchable man. Well, I don't want anything from you. Oh, I made my fatal mistake. And that's the boy, you have the man. You try and take my soul. Your tank is empty, there's nothing left. Well, now there's nowhere to go. This ends the tale of the Judas Three. You can kick me down, but you never bury me. Take what we had and try to twist it about. Just giving a breakfast and knocking you out. She make a bunch of men and faces. You worthless clown, you watchable man. Well, I don't want anything from you. Well, I made my fatal mistake.
And now time for the Intervision Update.
You've been hearing about it since the podcast began, and at last the Mickey and Worm Tour will be in San Diego from Friday, November the 13th, to Sunday, November 15th. Tickets are available, but selling fast, so the cast and crew would love for you to search Mickey and Worm on brownpapertickets.com. Come see the inimitable 1940 noir show and travel into the past with us.
Or literally travel into the past a few months ago and see the show we did in Las Vegas and Hollywood.
Or kill Hitler. Take your pick.
After the success of Mickey and Worm, both in performance and in stage readings, Intervision Entertainment is gearing up to deliver the play in the style of a classic radio drama. Mickey and Worm joins a number of other scripts under consideration for recording an audiocast format, which will be released in conjunction with the Approximate Hour. Some of your favorite actors will be voicing the classic characters, unless my evil experiments in raising the dead allow me to cast Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant.
Speaking of hijacking the dead, friends of the show, Graveyard Bandits, have some news of their own. Hot on the heels of their opening performance for Johnny Vato's Oingo Boingo Dance Party, the band will be playing a show on November the 28th in Pomona, California. That'll be at 8 p.m. at a place called Pizza, Beer, and Wings. Check their Facebook page for details. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know I'll definitely need to refuel on pizza, beer, wings, and hard rock after my sisters do all of my Black Friday shopping.
Christmas is creeping up fast.
It's a month and a half away.
And our friends and partners at Combat Radio are on their toy drive through the rest of November in association with Toys for Tots. Combat Radio is also gearing up for its 5th annual Combat Radio Christmas event on December 5th. Check Combat Radio's Facebook page for details on how you can make this the best Christmas ever by feeding hundreds of homeless children and their families.
What, you don't have a joke for that one?
Did I mention you are volunteering on that day?
No.
Well, there it is.
Oh.
We'd like to welcome Rob Graver to the Approximate Hour. How you doing?
Great. How are you guys doing?
So far, so good, baby.
Awesome.
So we like to ask a few questions to our guests, and I guess this might even be on Combat Radio as well, so let's hope they like our questions. Our very first question for you, what did you have for lunch?
I actually had an omelet with, I think, pepper jack cheese.
An omelet with pepper jack cheese. All right.
Very boring.
Actually, it sounds yummy.
That sounds great. What did you consider your first art project, and how did that inspire the art you do today?
I used to draw a lot when I was younger, and I think that has nothing really to do with music, except I had a lot of friends that wanted to start a band when we were young in like junior high, and somebody had a drum set and somebody had a bass guitar, or not a bass guitar, a guitar, and they were like, well, if you want to join our band, you probably have to get a bass. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds cool, and I like begged my mom for a bass and got it, and I'm still playing today, and all those guys are not, so.
Wicked!
Yeah,
Nice!
I don't know if that was an art project or not.
I'm counting it.
I'm counting it. I just want to point out that this gentleman, Rob here, is quite scarily dressed up right now with a mask and makeup, and is frightening the shit out of me.
Bro is slaying it. All right. Speaking of really grisly, hardcore metal topics, are you a cat person, dog person? What are your pets?
I'm totally a dog person. I have a husky at home. Her name is Zelda, and I'm a big Zelda video game fan, and everybody loves her. She has like bi-colored eyes, so like, yeah, I'm totally a dog. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, huskies rock. Okay. Oh wait, the follow-up question.
Oh, follow-up question. We have a 90-gallon tank with 3 fish in it that we're trying to get rid of. You want to take that off our hands?
A 90-gallon tank of what now?
It's a fish.
3 fish.
With 3
One's
fish.
particularly pissed
How
off.
big are they?
About
A 90-gallon tank?
90-gallon tank.
Do you want me to take it from you?
If you
Yep.
want it. If you want it.
Oh my God.
Free to a good home.
We ask everyone, and so far no takers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass. Maybe if I was a cat person and I was running out of food, maybe I would take it.
Okay, all right. We actually have a pertinent question.
Okay, important.
Right. So, what is your day job? What do you as an artist do to pay your bills?
Okay, I work for a lighting company called Luminous, and their products are lightning strikes and soft sun lights, and we basically rent those out to movies, and we produce lights for filming and stuff.
Would you still consider that artistic?
I get shocked a lot. And
Well, that has its value.
There's 168 hours in a week. How much of that time do you spend on your art?
on my what? Art?
On your art, on your project.
Of 168
I
hours.
don't know, it takes like a half an hour to do this makeup.
Nice.
So, we practice anywhere from 4 to 6 hours every time we practice twice a week. So our drummer though, Jeff Stevens, he always shows up 2 hours late. And so that, if you want to count that in, it's probably around 18 hours.
Wow, okay.
That's including also like, practice and stuff. Bongo's about to come on, so it's about to get really noisy. And
I
awesome.
know, we're about to lose it. Okay, let's see if I can get this question. What's your favorite hair color?
My favorite hair color? Ginger, like this gentleman here.
Oh, delicious.
Delicious red
Welcome to
hair.
the interviewer.
Okay, geek question. Geek crunch, real quick.
Geek question. Vampire, werewolf, zombie. Who wins?
Zombies!
Zombies! All right.
Dude, you rock, Rob.
Thank
How
you,
can we
guys.
find out more about 747?
Go to Facebook and look up 747 search or Reverb Nation or come to a f***ing show.
That's right, come to a f***ing show.
You heard it here first, folks. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
And to close this show, we bring you the Approximate Hour's Thought of the Day. Take it away, Wolfman.
It occurs to me that more people would go to the dentist if they started calling it a mouth spa.
No, they wouldn't.
And that's our show. Be sure to check IntervisionEntertainment.com for all updates to the Approximate Hour, the Mickey and Worm Tour, and our partnerships with Combat Radio. Intervision is also on Facebook, and don't forget to check the site to find out what's next on the Approximate Hour and how you can help support the show.
Thanks as always to Combat Radio, whose event footage you heard in this week's episode. Thanks also to 747 for their interviews and for that great track we heard. Special thanks to Mountain Mike's Pizza for sponsoring the Mickey and Worm Tour, as well as the Elks Lodge 168 for hosting it. Tune in next week when we may or may not be discussing the high points of an arm wrestling match between giant robots. I'm Ghislaine.
And I'm Wolfman. Catch you next week.
The Approximate Hour.
There is, it's much more of a booty call tactic.
That could not have been better.
Derp, 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 derp.